Hey, put the top down, put the car in gear, and get cruising. Get on the road, feel the wind through the air. It's the weekend. You're listening to the Automotive ADHD Show. I'm your host, Matt West, and enjoy the drive. Oh, that, of course, is unless you're stuck behind a left lane hog on the freeway. Yeah, we were talking about those before the break here on the show, and I encountered so much of this doing my road trip, my unplanned road trip, I should add, from Washington, D.C. back to Colorado a few weeks ago. And, you know, we've all been there. We've been, and I can already hear it. Someone's going to say, Matt, the left lane's not the fast lane. Yes, I know that. And that's the point. It's called the passing lane, by the way. Yeah, it is. Passing lane. Look it up. Anyway, so this is a problem. You've seen it. Maybe you are in that left lane. I'm going to encourage you to hop out of that real quick. Yeah, I'll give you some time. Put that blinker on. Do the blinker first. Get over into that right lane if you're not passing anybody. Go on. There we go. All right. You in there? Okay, good. So, the left lane, and this is, I think it's emblematic of a greater problem, and we're going to discuss that as we go through this segment here. But I saw it a lot while I was driving, and I mean a whole lot. I mean, constantly. In fact, every single time I would get in that right lane, there's a semi-truck. Okay, I'm going to get over to the left lane. Okay, we got someone in the left lane. He's not passing that semi-truck, so now he's matching the speed of the semi-truck, who's doing 5 under, and I'm behind this guy who's also doing 5 under. And man, it can drive you nuts. And I would argue, aside from it just being an annoyance, because it is annoying, it's probably one of the more annoying things you can encounter on the roadways. Yeah, there's people who don't signal. Yeah, there's people who do this. In terms of just sheer frustration, it can really drive you. It can just put you straight through the roof. But I think it's dangerous. And the reason for that is because, and I saw this several times, is you'll get somebody in that left lane who's not passing, and you'll get a truck over here in the right lane. And especially on a big freeway, a lot of semi-trucks, a lot of these guys, even though the freeway speed is 65, a lot of these guys have governed speeds on their truck, whether that's 65, whether that's maybe 70. In a lot of cases, these trucks aren't even really allowed to do the speed limit. It depends on where the truck's coming from, what state, what the rules are, maybe just the company policy for that truck. That's one thing I think people don't understand a lot is, why is this truck going so slow? He might actually be governed at that speed. All right. So I'm not usually going to be mad at the trucker first, though I am sometimes mad at the trucker if both trucks are at their governed speed and one guy tries to pass him. You've seen that. That's a whole nother thing. But what'll happen is you'll get this truck. People are going to get around him. Okay. Well, there's someone hogging that left lane up front. So a bunch of people get around, and that person is now holding up 1, 2, 3, 4. You look behind you, there's 5 more cars even behind you, and you might be the 5th car back. And then what's going to happen the second that person kind of inches past the truck, someone's going to jump in and they're going to cut that truck off with 0 following distance. They're going to cut him off with such little distance that he probably can't even see them underneath the hood of his vehicle. He likely doesn't even know they're there. That's entirely possible. And they're going to cut him off and they're going to shoot in front. That is a dangerous maneuver for one, but now you get a bunch of people doing that. Or what you'll get is someone in that left lane. Here's the alternate scenario. And I see this often too, is there's nobody really in the right lane, but somebody's cruising over here in the left lane. Even though they could be in the right lane, they're over here in the left lane. And maybe you're passing a couple cars here to get ahead. Maybe they're going slower. Well, you come up against someone who is in that left lane with no one to the side of them. And now you're jumping around to pass them on the right. And that's dangerous in its own sense, because one of the things that is important, I think, to safe driving is being predictable. Okay. So go to a track day, go to a high performance driving event, and go take it doesn't even have to be a course. Just go do a ride along with someone who knows what they're doing. And oftentimes people will allow you to do this. It depends on the track. Sometimes they don't let you have passengers, but a lot of times people are more than willing to say, hey, jump in the passenger seat. I'll go show you the course. I'll show you how I'm apexing it, doing whatever. And they'll explain what they're doing. They'll explain how they're passing. One of the rules to passing, be predictable. Don't pass somebody in a way that's completely, that's completely off grid in a sense, right? That doesn't make sense at all. Because, if you're on a racetrack, you got to have this situational awareness where the cars around you, you're checking your mirrors, you're checking behind you. You ever see race cars that have that huge mirror that goes all the way across like the top of the windshield? It's for that reason. You got to know who's around you. And if someone's going to make a really erratic pass in a way that's not safe, or they're just going to pass in a weird spot, you're sort of relying on the other people to behave in a certain way for you to take that corner and take it at that speed. Okay. And I hope I'm making sense with this, but it's that same idea on the roadway, even though you're not racing at speed. Okay. You're not, but it's the same principle that everyone is sort of going to assume, all right, I'm doing my thing. This guy's over here. He's doing his thing. He's going to go there. He's going to turn there. He's got his blinker on, whatever. A lot of what we do on the road and a lot of the quote unquote rules of the road exists not to necessarily be rules, but just to have everyone be fairly predictable on the roadway. And now, if you've ever rode a motorcycle, you know that having everyone be predictable is just a fantasy because it's not going to happen. And you should always, I took the MSF safety course to get my motorcycle endorsement on my license. It's been years now since I've taken it, but one of the things they try to instill in you is assume everyone is a complete lunatic and a sociopath and a maniac and everything. Just assume whatever it is that they probably won't do. Like, yeah, they're not going to make that turn there. There's no reason for them to do that. Yeah, they're not going to jump the median right there. No, just assume they're going to do that. Plan for the worst, and think in your head, okay, if that guy pulls in front of me for no reason, what am I going to do? And if you do that, you're going to make yourself a much better rider on a motorcycle, obviously. But that mentality, I think, is missing from driver's education entirely. It really is. Maybe they mention it, but they don't instill the reasoning for it. If you ride a motorcycle, for one, and if you ride a motorcycle safely, you don't get yourself plastered on the pavement, you're generally going to be a better driver behind a four-wheeled machine, too. Now, I want to pull this up here. The Colorado Driver Handbook. It's going to vary state to state. I'm in Colorado. If you're listening on the radio, you're in Colorado as well. But I have a lot of people on the podcast, and yeah, it might be different where you live, but it's going to be really close to this. And it has a section referring to changing lanes and passing. And it says specifically, quote, you must yield the right of way to vehicles already occupying the lane you wish to enter or use for passing. Do not change lanes if another vehicle must slow down for you. That's one part of it there. Now, that then ties into the left lane law that exists, which, by the way, this is Colorado Revised Statute 42-4-1013, and it's referred to as the left lane law or the passing law. And it basically states that on highways with speed limits posted at 65 miles per hour or more, you must not drive in the leftmost passing lane unless you are passing another vehicle. Mind blown. Turning left. Okay, I guess you could turn left there. Not typically on the freeway. It's not going to happen. Or if you are unable to safely merge into the right lane due to traffic or heavy traffic volume. These rules, while they should apply in heavy traffic situations. I can understand, especially on I-25 through Denver, you've got like 5 lanes of traffic in either direction, and it's all bumper to bumper. It's a little hard to observe left lane etiquette at that point. Here's the thing, though. It's the driver handbook in Colorado is I still think not very clear on this. It doesn't specifically outline this. It has actually happened here in Colorado where people have been pulled over at least for hogging that left lane. And what I think it, more than anything, what I think it exemplifies is inattentive drivers. If you're just sitting there oblivious to the world and you're in that left lane, it says you're not paying attention is what it does. So it's dangerous. It causes people to merge around you in weird and unpredictable ways. And it means, again, you're not paying attention, and that's a big problem. We need people paying attention. We're going to continue this and more on the Automotive ADHD Show after this.